It's time! We're back with another tier list. And today, just like I said, we're going over all the mainline games in Pokemon. All of them. I don't really have much to say other than that. So I kind of just want to hop straight into it because the first one I want to get out of the way is I've never played this one, so I'm putting it down at the bottom. Most of the GameCube ones, I'm also going to be ranking I'm being pretty difficult, I'd say. I got a high standard for my Pokemon games, okay? Like everyone else, okay? We're all opinionative. But let's do, where is it? Fire Red for the Game Boy, the blue, and the leaf green. They are all C tier. They're the first of the first, the best of the best. The very starters of it, you know? So all of them kind of play the same. They're really good. They're good for their time, but they haven't really aged super well. And because of that, I'm putting them down. Same with, also, I'm just gonna put Pokemon Gold and Silver in C tier as well, along with their third-party game. Because, again, they were really good at the time, but I have to differentiate. It hurts, but I have to differentiate, like, games, the Pokemon games that, like, have really innovated the franchise, that made me really love the games, and what made it start. Like, I have a lot of respect for these games, but they're also not my favorite. Alright, Gen 3 with Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. They're a little bit better than the other Game Boy games that came out. And then we're getting on to the first DS game, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Those, and this one as well. I would put this one in the front of A tier though. Actually wait, I want to move these two actually down and keep Emerald into B tier because Emerald's a lot better than Ruby and Sapphire. And for those, and I want to make sure that we have, actually, here we go. Okay, I'm feeling more comfortable with that. That's a little bit more comfortable because better graphics, better designed Pokemon, but Emerald is still really good. It's just coming from the Game Boy to the DS was huge for Pokemon animations. And so I want to actually do Heart Gold and Soul Silver into A tier. Both of them did really good. We finally get our first unique, well, not really, but we get a unique mechanic with the Pokemon. That was my favorite, where they can follow behind you and interact with the world around you, so it made the game feel a lot more alive. And Pokemon White was also an A tier. Pokemon, that's Black too, right? Pokemon Z, yeah. Oh my gosh. Wait. Yeah, wait. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to see that game. They're not in order. Hold on. Because there's Black, White 2, right? Okay, so here's that one's also in A tier. Sorry. Have them in a little bit mixed order. Okay, I don't think they have those ones. They have Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, X and Y. Oh, yeah, here it is. This one's a little bit better. This is like the peak of, I'm gonna also just toss that one in too, because that's White 2 and then Black 2. Okay, those ones are S tier, because these are where Pokemon Pixelated gets peaked. We get very unique animations. All the Pokemon feel alive and well. They have a lot of different things going for them. A lot of unique designs and awesome mechanics in the games. And they're, well, really fun to play. And now here we go. We're in the 3D world now. X and Y. Our first touch into the 3D world. And actually, I'm going to move them down to B tier. These are in B tier because not only did they bring unique stuff to the franchise, but they are the first daring steps into 3D. Not only, well, they started in Black 2, White 2, right? they had 3D stuff in them, but it was mainly pixelated, but they focused on high animations, and the animation quality was really good in those games. So that's like peak animation right there. We're not, these two started the 3D, so they got a pass with like how basic their animation was, and then we learned. And then, wait, that is not, okay. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Okay, wait, I'm missing ones. Where is X and Y? They had their own different unique versions. Okay, but okay, I'll just move it to, no. We'll just leave it like that, that's fine. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire updated everything on, I put them in S tier. They updated everything that X and Y did with 3D, but made it better, and then the after game content is amazing. Not only that, but the way that I genuinely believe, this is my personal opinion, I could be wrong, but I've played a crap ton of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I have done so much with those games, you know. I've bought them twice. But the things you can do with the Pokemon is amazing. Like the way you can interact with your Pokemon. I think the only drawback is that it was like 3D, but the Pokemon couldn't follow you. And the way that the camera was locked in bird's eye view all the time, like it was 2D, but also locked like 3D. So X and Y did do 3D a little bit better, but I still think I had way more fun with Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, because you could also fly around, and the flying mechanic in that game was really fun. The way you could pet and feed your Pokemon, like they transferred that system over, and then they had other systems that just improved upon the game from like the 3DS, like what is it? That one thing that helped you find Pokemon with the bottom screen on the 3DS. You'll know what I'm talking about. I can't remember the name of the system at the moment, but it was really good. It was really fun. And now I'm about to be very controversial. I think Pokemon Sun and Moon are D tiers. I would rather go back and play the Game Boy games than play Sun and Moon again. I didn't really enjoy Sun and Moon at all. I don't think they're the worst in the franchise. I think that's yet to come. But I do think they're just bad. They're not good. Also, I just realized that Fire Red and Yellow were here. I'm actually gonna put Fire Red into B tier though, because it's the first one, so I have to put respect on it. But yeah, okay, sorry. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are a little bit better, but again, like they changed the story, and like they have different unique mechanics, and that you can like go and time travel and fly through like a wormhole or something on Lunala or Solgaleo, and that's pretty cool. But Ultra Beasts aren't really my thing. I prefer Mega Evolutions, like in X and Y, and Mega Evolutions really good. Actually, I think Mega Evolutions actually bumped them up to A tier. If I'm being absolutely 100% fair. Okay, now let's go to the first game on the Switch. Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. B tiers. They were pretty good. They had the mechanic where you throw the ball, and then they were also the easiest game ever. Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee was the easiest game ever to get shinies in. Like, the easiest game ever to get shinies in. If you were shiny hunting, you loved this game because it was so easy. It was so easy to get shinies in this game. Then we go to, well, I think what I consider probably the worst games in the franchise. I might be being very hard on Sword and Shield because I know Gigantamax was cool, but I never found the after game content for Sword and Shield was lackluster when it first dropped. And it's the first Pokemon game that was like, hey, DLC, cough it up, hand it over, you know? In Heart Gold and Soul Silver, The after game content was amazing. You could go to Kanto. You could go to Kanto, okay? And you could continuously play the game, okay? And Sword and Shield, they're like, nah, hold up, wait a minute, we ain't letting you do that. But if you cough over another $40, you can get this really cool bear, you know? That also Gigantamaxes and stuff. And then Pokemon Legends of Arceus is a B tier. I'm not gonna be nice to it. It was a decent attempt at a game. They tried to change up the mechanics, but they didn't really fully lean into it with like the exploration and okay, be honest with me. How many of you just flew around and threw Pokeballs at the Pokemon and then went back to the base? It wasn't what we were expecting, because what we wanted was kind of what Pal World gave us, you know? That's what everybody was kind of hoping for, an open world where you could travel across the map and throw Pokeballs at Pokemon, build a base, and make a camp, and interact with your Pokemon. I think that's what people wanted. But I feel like everybody takes it really easy on Legends of Arceus because it changed up the formula. But now I think with the new Pokemon Legends of Arceus Z, right? That's coming out. I think a lot of people are afraid of what's gonna happen. I think everyone's afraid that it's gonna just be a copy and paste. They are gonna Control-C, Control-V, and, you know, I'm not super excited for it. I'm gonna be honest, because it's not the experience that I kind of want from a Pokemon game. And I think, like, from what I want from a Pokemon game is, like, what Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire gave us, where you could, like, pet your Pokemon, you could hand feed them, you could clean them, you can, like, hang out and interact with them very well. Same with, like, I want the animations from, like, Black 2, White 2, but in 3D, where every Pokemon feels unique and alive, and Blastoise doesn't shoot water out of its forehead, it shoots it out of its cannons. And, like, I see, like, a lot of people would agree with me in that. Pokemon is the biggest gaming franchise ever. Besides maybe Minecraft. I think Minecraft's a little bit larger than Pokemon nowadays, but I'm not certain on that. But that doesn't take away from my point. It is one of the biggest gaming franchises to ever exist, and they kind of drag their feet when innovating. That's why I'm being so harder on the newer games, because especially when you take in the years of development between the games, because Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire was in, I think it was in 2014, and then Sun and Moon came out like 3 years later. Okay, so they had like 3 years of development time, and honest to honest, it felt like an XY like copy paste with just a little bit tweak of mechanics. And you can say the stuff about the Z moves or whatever, but let's be honest here, kind of the only unique one was Snorlax. Nobody's raving about the Z moves. Like, besides the one with Snorlax where like ran and just like the showcase ones, a lot of them were just kind of them standing still and then stuff happening around them. It's gotten even worse with terrestrialization from Scarlet and Violet, which I don't even have on here. But if I did have Scarlet and Violet, they would be in, honestly, they'd be in C tier. They'd be in C tier. Scarlet and Violet's a bit better than Sword and Shield, and I do like the mechanic where you could travel around, because that is what I kind of wanted in building a camp and stuff with Scarlet and Violet. But it's not fully what I wanted, you know? Because I want to be able to just, like, be in the world. Alright? Like, I don't know. I want... Basically what I'm trying to say is I want power. Which I do. If Power World was on here, it would be an S tier. Oh my goodness, controversial. Well, Scarlet and Violet was really good. It was way better than Sword and Shield. It was a breath of fresh air. It was better than Legends of Arceus, honestly. You know what? Actually, I would put Scarlet and Violet in A tier. If I'm being genuinely fair for what Scarlet and Violet did. I just think that, like, they need... What really brought that game down was, like, how much of a buggy mess it was on the Switch when it first dropped. If I was going to be honest and subtract points from that for that. And then I want to take away points from it for the non-unique animations still. And then I want to take points away from it again for the open world being bland and boring. It's a bland and boring world to explore in Scarlet and Violet. There's only like a few unique places to go. But I don't know if that's fully on Scarlet and Violet's fault or if it's the Switch's fault. Because I would be leaning more that it's like the Switch's capability just can't handle it. But then I think about Breath of the Wild. And I think about all these other games that like are very... Like, the world isn't bland and boring in those games. They're very vibrant and colorful and have other unique things. So then I'm just like, wait a minute. No, they can do that. But they're just choosing not to. So I'm very conflicted on it. But I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just my opinion. And I am very comfortable with how I ranked my list here. I do think... I know a lot of people would disagree. That some people would say that White 2, Black 2 are probably the best ones. And then there's some people that say not XY. I think they have second games. I'm not certain. They're not on the list. There's a couple ones missing from the main lines on this tier list. But I think they would say that those ones are better. And those are fair. But I think Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire expanded on what X and Y had going for it in the games after and made it even better. And the after game content for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire with getting all the extra legendary Pokemon and the events for that game were really goated and very good. So I think I'm very comfortable with this tier list. I feel like a lot of people would probably disagree with all my placements on the Game Boy ones because I'm going to be honest. Some people are going to be like, you know what? No, this is the game I started with. And you know what? I'm being a little bit unfair with the Game Boy ones because the Game Boy colored ones are obviously better. I think, like, I'm not... here, actually, let me make this a little bit better. Because I'll just organize them and which ones should be at the front of this. So it should be... Yeah, but... Freaking get back. Get back! Then, no, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, I'm still gonna leave them at the back. I'm not being nice to them at all. They had so much time and for development and stuff. In Sun and Moon, honestly, Sun and Moon is just a little bit more replayable than Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield was washed. I got bored of that game after a year it came out, dude. It was just meh. Like, I don't know. I played a lot of these other Pokemon games a long time after they came out. Like, a long time. But Sword and Shield is kind of washed. Sun and Moon was also kind of washed. Brilliant Diamond and Brilliant Pearl were just not it either. They were just meh. It was just dead on arrival kind of type games. I know that's not true because people do like these ones, but I feel like they could have done more. Because it's like, how do you go from Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire being like pinnacle of like what they are getting to be able to be capable of doing, and then like tripping and falling on Brilliant Diamond and Brilliant and Shining Pearl? Like, I don't know. It just frustrates me. These, like, the gaming tier list really frustrates me because I'm very passionate about these games, and I feel like the DS games, like the regular DS and then the start of the 3DS games were so good. They were so good. They were so much better than what they were previously doing. Like, they expanded upon Pokemon so much, only for the Switch to come and trip on its face, and like, we're having no innovation on Pokemon anymore, you know? like the unique mechanics aren't really there. And I totally forgot to mention that these ones also had triple battles. They were the start of that too. And like, I think Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu had horde battles, which would made it like really easy to shiny hunt. But it's so hard to know. Like, it's not like, not really, no, it's not hard to know at all. It's just, that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like this is great. You know what? I'm not changing anything. I think Omega Ruby are the best Pokemon games. After that, it's White 2 and Black 2. And then it's Platinum, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver are really good. Black and White were really good. X and Y were good. And then I think that Diamond and Pearl were great. Emerald version for the Game Boy was great. Fire Red's just one of the starter ones. I think Fire Red, Yellow, right? They're interchangeable. They're just basically the same, except one you get to pick between Squirtle, Charizard, and Bulbasaur, and then the other one's just Pikachu, right? So yeah, and then Let's Go Eevee, and you know, I like Let's Go Eevee a little bit more than Pikachu. Arceus is okay. Then the rest of these are just alright. Then that's going from alright to meh, and then not so good, and then I never played. You know, I don't have a burn tier, but if I did, I would be tossing some of these into the burn tier. Like, start over, put effort in it, you know? I don't know. But that's just my opinion at the end of the day. If you guys disagreed, if you agreed, leave a comment down below. Other than that, please take care and be safe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, Fish Trouts. Bye-bye! Kaboom!